Have you ever looked up at the night sky, far away from the city lights, and just stared at the billions of stars? It's a view that can make anyone feel incredibly small. When you look at a universe that massive, a very natural question comes up. Is the God who manages all of that simply too busy running the cosmos to care about one single person down here on Earth? The book of Isaiah, specifically chapters 38 through 40, addresses this exact feeling of insignificance. It starts with the account of a man named Hezekiah, a king who had every earthly advantage, but suddenly lost the one thing he couldn't control: his health. Despite his royal status, Hezekiah was completely powerless. He became so terribly sick that the prophet Isaiah told him he was at the point of death and would not recover. With no doctors left to help him, Hezekiah turned his face to the wall, wept bitterly, and prayed a desperate prayer for God to remember his faithfulness. Before Isaiah had even left the palace, God gave him a new message. He had heard the king's prayer, seen his tears, and would add 15 years to his life. To prove he would keep this promise, God provided a sign that defies physics. On a nearby stairway, the shadow cast by the sun actually reversed its direction, moving back 10 steps. The force that manages the sun's position in the sky is the same one that stopped to notice the tears of a single man in a sick room. Hezekiah recovered, but he was still a human prone to mistakes. Sometime later, visitors arrived at his palace from the distant land of Babylon. Instead of giving God credit for his healing, Hezekiah showed off his own wealth. He led the visitors through his storehouses, displaying his silver, gold, spices, and fine olive oil. Isaiah warned the king that this pride would have a cost. A time was coming when every treasure in that palace would be carried away to Babylon, leaving nothing behind. While gold can be looted and human achievements eventually crumble, the story moves toward a different kind of inheritance, one that time cannot touch. The narrative turns toward restoration, speaking of a time when hard service is over and mistakes are wiped clean. To show why this promise of comfort is reliable, the text describes a God so massive that he can measure all the oceans of the earth in the hollow of his hand. It invites us to imagine a creator who weighs entire mountains and hills on a balance scale, as if they were dust. This makes the idols people build look small. They are just blocks of wood humans carefully balance so they don't topple. These comparisons illustrate a simple reality. Absolutely nothing on earth can match the sheer size and power of the one who founded it. This is the same God who brings out the billions of stars one by one, calling each of them by its own name. If he is capable of tracking every star in the cosmos, it's impossible for our own struggles to be hidden from him, or for our cause to be disregarded. The text provides a final image for this relationship. Despite his cosmic scale, he acts like a shepherd who gathers weak lambs in his arms and carries them close to his heart. His infinite greatness doesn't create distance. It makes him perfectly capable of holding us when we are at our weakest. Think about the last time you exerted yourself so hard that you just crashed, where you completely ran out of energy and had to stop. Even the strongest young people eventually grow tired. They stumble and they fall because human energy is a finite resource. But the everlasting God never grows weary. He possesses an endless supply of strength, and he offers to share it with those who place their hope in him. With that strength, the perspective changes. People can soar on wings like eagles, running without growing weary, and walking without fainting. The God who is big enough to hold the oceans in his hand is the exact same God who is close enough to hear your voice and give you the strength to rise.